a-hole for changing my niece's strip name when I got custody. I beg your finest pardon. I think it will become obvious that my sister and I have taken very different paths in life. I love her very much, but she's not well. I've had custody of my niece since she was 6 months old. My sister is going to jail for at least the next 7 years. She's ineligible for parole for that long, so that's a minimum. My niece's name is the perfect example of my sister's thought process. Honest to God, she named her Cinnamon, pronounced cinnamon. Okay. I have had my sister's parental rights severed. My parents and her fought me on it. Don't care. My parents have never contributed to her upbringing, but they have given lots of unwanted advice. I adopted my daughter and changed her name to Simone. My parents think I'm being cruel to my sister. What my sister thinks is not allowed here. The filters told me that particular obscenity wasn't part of the posts here. It starts with a C. Try it yourself if you don't believe me. I believe you. So I feel completely justified in changing her name. I do not think I'm wrong. I'm not looking for validation. I want to know if I'm missing something that my parents and sister can't communicate coherently. It would be one thing, like, your niece was, like, named after your sister. Listen, she's your daughter. You adopted her. She was young enough that you could have changed her name. Simone is a nice name. Quite frankly, it kind of just seems like your sister didn't make the right choices. I would argue that you're doing her a solid by adopting her daughter while she goes to jail. Your niece could have ended up in a much worse situation. Like, if she ended up in the system, there's no telling how terrible her upbringing could have been. Just stating facts, okay? If you grew up in the system and you had a good time, then great. But a lot of the time, it ain't so great. Okay? It's kind of luck of the draw. Yeah, I fail to understand why, like, you're the one that now has to take care of your niece and you can't make decisions as her parent. I think that your sister gave up that right to choose when she went to jail. So, you are clearly and undeniably not the a-hole, but that title, I initially read it like you had dropped at a stripper and wanted to change their professional name. As you might imagine, I was a bit confused. I was too. It's just like a kind of inappropriate, like the name Cinnamon is just sort of like what you would call your spicy dancer name. It's not like her actual name as a spicy dancer. Right. Not the a-hole. Your child is gonna thank you later. Yeah, I think so. It would be one thing if your niece was, like, named after your sister, but she named her child, like, Cinnamon. It ain't that great of a name, I'm just saying. Not a hill that you need to die on. And I think Simone is, like, a good alternative. Not the a-hole. I think you've made a really nice transition of her name. That sounds great and is much easier to pronounce. The courts do not terminate parental rights on a whim. You've stepped up and kept your niece in the family and are now her mom. This clearly wasn't easy. You went through the trouble of going through the courts and making it so your niece doesn't end up in the system. In most scenarios like this, it's actually quite difficult. Don't they have to go through, like, a lot of court processes to do this? And, like, petition or something. I don't know. I just know, like, adopting someone and not having that person go through the system, it's not an easy thing. So yeah, like I said, you did the family a solid and they can sit down. Not the a-hole.